This is Late Night Health. I'm Mark Alyn, and Paul Corona, Dr. Paul Corona, the author of Healing the Mind and Body. It's a trilogy. Joins us from Laguna Beach, California, Laguna Niguel, California. And we're going to talk today about the D word. This is a word that I think everybody knows, everybody experiences, and everybody's afraid of. The D word is depression. Am I right? Everybody afraid, have it, and
people don't like that word. My patients, some of them, they come in, they say they're depressed, but most of them don't like that word because all the stigma and the negative bias that comes with that word, because people think it is what it isn't.
What is then depression? What is being depressed?
Well, it's the way I look at it is when the person's just not feeling themselves for a period of time. But, there's several symptoms. I'll just quickly go through some symptoms. A lot of worry, obsessive thinking, irritability, sadness.
Be quiet.
Loss of appetite or increased appetite, decreased sex drive, improved sleep or decreased sleep or more tired. There's so many different symptoms that go along.
But those seem to be at a tangent, at least to me. It would be, isn't depressed thinking, oh, woe is me, the weight of the world is on me, I can't do anything about it, oh God, what shall I do now?
Right.
I mean, that's
exactly.
that's what I think it is.
Well, and with the old school mentality out there, a lot of people don't like to face that word because they're perceived. They think that means they're weak. They lack character, or they think it's a sin to be depressed. It's not true.
Whoa! They think it's a sin to be depressed?
Some people in certain religions think that depression is a sin, and that's a struggle with a lot of people in certain religions to separate the science of depression from spirituality. What
we have to do is we have to talk to Pastor Chuck Smith, and maybe we'll bring in a rabbi, and we'll get them both on the line. We'll ask them that. That's a real good topic that we should cover, because depression, to me, it's a health issue. And what we try to do here on Late Night Health is to discuss and shed light on a variety of health issues, from diabetes to depression. Right. So we're covering as many D words as we possibly can. We will be talking about diabetes next hour. With Valentine's Day right now, today, can people be depressed because it's Valentine's Day and they don't have a partner? They hate their partner. Their partner doesn't like them.
Yeah, and depression can get worse, like we talked about before in a previous show, that depression can get worse during the holidays because of the fact that, just the fact as you just said, what if the relationship is not doing well? It just exacerbates an underlying problem because there's the pressure to do something and go out, and there's all this pressure during the holidays and during things like Valentine's Day when people are expected to do certain things and they're not really in the mood for it.
When, I guess maybe this is the father knows best mentality from the 50s. When somebody said, I'm depressed, they probably didn't say it just that way. And it was, suck it up. You'll be okay. Just, power through it. Is right. That the old school way of dealing with depression?
Pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Stop complaining. Other people have it worse than you. Just put your smiley face on. Stop frowning. Just try to be happy. And the glass is half full, not half empty. All those things are I call the old school mentality, and it's worse with men. With men and women, there's no question the stigma. Stigma is the number one barrier I see with treating mental illness, the stigma. But men, it's more because there's the macho, the machismo, the not wanting to display a sign of weakness. So it's another level with men, but it's really both sexes for sure.
With men in particular, no matter what the symptom is, the illness is, whether it's, dry skin on elbows or calluses on the bottom of their feet, we guys don't like going to see people like you.
Right.
Why is that? I mean, it's that stigma and the machismo that you were just talking about, I guess.
Stigma, and I think in general, I mean, not to generalize, but that's what I kind of have to do sometimes, is women are a bit more accepting. They're better listeners sometimes. They're more accepting that there's something wrong. They can feel something wrong with their bodies, with their menstrual cycles, with menopause. They can feel that things are going on. Men don't have that same feelings, even though it happens the same phase of life with men, which is, again, teenage years and midlife are the two peak times I see. But men don't see the changes that women see, and it's a lot more subtle in men.
I can remember losing a girlfriend sometime in high school, right? You're laughing. You remember that too. He remembers when I lost. Never mind. But when I lost a girlfriend, I remember that feeling, and it was not pleasant. But I bucked up, as they say, and I powered through it. Was that the right approach, or should I have gone to see somebody? It didn't last in particularly long because somebody else picked me up, as they say.
Well, and I break it down to mild, moderate, and severe. Severe depression, we know, can't get out of bed, crying all the time, a lot, suicidal thinking. That's severe depression. There's mild and to moderate, which is more functional depression. People can go to work, but they're just not happy going to work, and so there's different phases and types of depression. What you're describing is more of a situational depression, more of a stress-based thing. So that's something. It depends on if it can be worked through, because every breakup is heartache. But if it sustains for an extended period of time, at least 6 months or more past the trauma, that's when it kind of gets more into the clinical depression realm.
You said functional depression. Would that be like a functional alcoholic, somebody who drinks, an excessive amount, and at the same time appears to be functioning quite normally, if not at the top of the class?
Right. Just as like if the same person didn't treat the diabetes, they could still go to work. They're not feeling healthy. They feel terrible because the sugar's up, but they still get through the workday. The same thing with depression, with alcoholism, with addiction. You can still function, but you're not functioning the best you can. You're not at your peak, and you're as good as you could feel.
And can this kind of depression, the situational or even chronic depression, lead to more advanced things such as bipolar disease and really more serious illnesses and states of being? Absolutely,
and bipolar disorder is very under-recognized in our society, but the chronic nature, the cyclical nature of the mood, and the history can give me a lot of clues to me. What's depression? What's mild bipolar? What's moderate and severe bipolar? So there's there's a spectrum of disorder here between mild and severe, and the longer it's not treated, the worse it gets.
Our guest is Dr. Paul Corona. He is the author of Healing the Mind and Body Trilogy. It's unlocking the secret truths about the mind-body connection, and there is that mind-body connection. If you're not feeling well in your head, your body's going to hurt.
Absolutely. The brain is the most central, vital organ in the body, and so if the brain is not right, the body is not right.
What can we do about the first kind of depression, the situational depression? Do I need to go to a therapist? Do I need to come to see Dr. Paul Corona for, my girlfriend left me, my wife left me, and, the normal, I got fired, the normal kinds of ups and downs in life that can affect each and every one of us?
It depends on the pattern and the history of it. If it's the first time it's happening, then it may be one thing. But if it's happening over and over again and it's a chronic nature of it, then it can get worse over time. But again, this doesn't undercut the importance of what I tell people is, okay, are you exercising regularly? If not, do that. Are you doing anything for relaxation and fun? The number one problem with depression I see the most common is lack of interest in things that you normally like to do before. We call it anhedonia, which means that I used to like to do this, but I don't like to do that anymore. I don't like it anymore. So that's a very, very sensitive sign of depression, is lack of interest of normal, pleasurable activities.
That are individualized.
Right.
I find that when I'm depressed, I become a depressed eater, okay? Where I used to not eat. Now I'm talking a long time ago. But I'm not overweight by 50, 60 pounds, but I tend to grab an extra portion of ice cream or an extra cookie or something like that. I've never been a fan of exercising ever, and I know I need to do more of that. So my question is, what about those kinds of changes in one's life where you're changing,
right,
but you're doing something, well, I like to eat, so I may as well eat more.
Well, we all do. And then we like it, but then some people like to gamble. Sometimes that goes too far. And we like to do some people like to shop, and then that goes too far. So a lot of people self-medicate in many ways besides drugs and alcohol. But the reason exercise helps so much, not just the benefits for the heart and the body, but it helps people to learn how to breathe. Because when you exercise, you have to breathe in and out deeply. And that teaches people to relax and breathe. And if you can't exercise, I go through with patients breathing exercises to learn how to relax when they're tense.
And there'd be yoga and meditation would fall.
Yoga and meditation work great, and exercise. And then again, obviously I prescribe a lot of my medications as the foremost part of my practice, but it's not the only part, for sure. I talk about all the other factors, and if people need counseling, and if there's long-term issues from childhood, from the past, counseling helps. Talking to really good, healthy friends helps. Getting involved in activities out there, in hobbies, things that you enjoy doing, or that you used to enjoy doing but don't enjoy anymore.
It'd be like somebody depressed because they're not married. Let's say we'll pick a woman or a man, it doesn't matter, and they decide I want to get married, and they don't do anything to move that thought forward. They don't go to church socials. They don't ask to be hooked up on blind dates. They don't even go to bars. They sit in their home waiting for Prince or Princess Charming to knock on the door and say, I'm taking you away on the white horse. He's right outside. Come on, let's go. It doesn't happen that way.
Or they go on the internet because they're inside and they try to meet someone that way, which is the most common way people meet nowadays,
right,
when they're single. Right. But right, the best way is to get out there, get social, go out to places. It doesn't have to be a bar. It can be, like you said, church activities. It could be if you're not into church, then you can go to community activities.
I'm going to hold you off here because this is Valentine's Day. The dedication to the Healing the Mind and Body #2 by Paul Corona starts out this way. To my beautiful wife, Denise, thank you for your undying love and support during the long and arduous process of writing these books over more than 10 years. To my love, my trophy wife and mother extraordinaire, I love you. And that's how we're going to wrap up this part, but we will be back as we talk about the big D here on Late Night Health.